Testing. The starting lineup for the Waves. It will be the home team in game one. Moving off the shortstop number 9, Brandon DeCott. Brandon DeCott. Batting second, the right fielder number 29, Ryan Garrett. Batting third, the third baseman number 12, Justin Hackett. Batting fourth, the center fielder, 6, Gavin Reagan. Batting
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Keene, New Hampshire, where we are here at Alumni Field getting ready for game one of a doubleheader between the Ocean State Waves and the Keene SwampBats. It's the Waves' first time playing a doubleheader this year. Keene already very experienced with the 2-1s. They've got 3 doubleheaders so far on the year. I'm Dan Shea, joined by my broadcast partner, Andrew Hillsman. And Andrew, what would you say are some early keys to success if Keene wants to get out of this one 2-0?
Oh man, Keene has been just kind of a wagon, but teams have started to figure them out a little bit. They're up to 3 losses, but still that win streak at the start of the year showed the true potential of this team and how good they can be. It's been nothing short of impressive to watch them go to work this year, but the biggest thing that Keene needs to do is just get to the starting pitcher of the opposing team early. That's what they kind of struggled with against North Adams. That's what they've struggled with in their losses this year. And once they're behind early, it can be a little tough. They've made great comebacks in some games, but getting the offense going early will definitely help them.
For the Waves, it's a similar story. Going to want to get the bats going early, especially at the top of that order that's been struggling a bit recently. We'll be back with all the action here from Alumni Field after a quick break.
Shortstop, number 31, Andrew Bell. 9 to left field, number 41, Gabriel Pitts. Pitching this afternoon, game 1 for SwampBats from Jacksonville University in Boynton Beach, Florida, number 28, Alex Hall. Umpires for game 1, behind the plate, Aaron Brown, and on the bases, Morris Hoppert and Brian Rock. This time, ladies and gentlemen, after all 2 drives, for the play of our national anthem.
nearing first pitch for game one of today's doubleheader. Just going to toss it down to our sideline reporter, Ryan Fitzpatrick, with a quick message.
Thank you very much, Andrew. So, for this game, the SwampBats are still sitting pretty as the best team with the best record in the NECBL, but they hit a bit of a roadblock last game, getting shut out. And speaking with the hitting coach of the SwampBats, Casey O'Brien, he said, we're just going to have to make better adjustments in this doubleheader and going through the rest of the season. And it's this game, there's going to be a pitcher on the mound with a great changeup and with great stuff in general. So, we're going to have to adjust going through the game, especially with the SwampBats missing 2 bats in Dillon Cup as well. So, the SwampBats will have to come down to adjustments. Back to you, Andrew.
So it will be interesting to see how some of those defensive changes affect today's doubleheader. Little ceremonial pitch from some young fans here at the ballpark.
Oh, yeah.
Always great to see the NECBL getting some future fans involved.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is week 2 of SwampBats summer baseball camp wrapped up for kids in the Keene and surrounding areas. They did it. First week of it was last week, and then now this is camper night here at Alumni Field. So if a kid shows up with their camp t-shirt, they get in free. So that's the promotion tonight. Now they get to watch 2 baseball games instead of just 1. So what's better than that? And Dan, this is going to be a fun matchup for the first of 2.
Yes, certainly is. The Waves enter this one after a big win last night in Danbury. They took down the Westerners by a score of 9-2. They've won 6 of their last 10. The SwampBats, meanwhile, have taken 8 of their last 10. They sit at first in the North Division, while the Waves currently are south in the 5th, sitting at a 500 record. Corey Kling is on the mound today for the Ocean State Waves. He's had a very strong start to the season. 3 outings so far, 8 innings pitched, a 1.13 ERA, and 14 strikeouts. He was named the NECBL Pitcher of the Week after his first showing against the North Adams Steeplecats. Went 4 innings, faced 12 batters, struck out 6 of them, and didn't allow any earned runs. So if Kling can get off to a similar start today, of course, with this being a 7-inning game, the Waves will be hoping that he could carry them through most of it and provide some much-needed momentum.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, especially how this defense works behind him. And the biggest thing about this Keene lineup is there are guys that can attack you all the way through it. You look at the start. O'Brien, really good at getting on base, hitting 340 this year. Perez and Tupou with some good power in the middle. And then you've got Ty Manolfi and Andrew Bell towards the bottom. So Manolfi has really had a resurgence at the place. He's hitting 324, and he's a good base stealer as well. There's a lot of speed in this team, but O'Brien, as that leadoff hitter, he's a tough first batter to face. Yeah,
Manolfi, as you mentioned there, playing second base today for Keene, batting 7th in the order. He's been on a bit of a hot streak recently, 11 of 25 over his last 7 games. That's good for a 440 average during that stretch. If he can continue to get base hits with that kind of consistency, could be huge for this SwampBats lineup as the season goes on.
Yeah, well, Ty Manolfi, like you said, just committed. Took a visit to Boston College on the off day yesterday. Liked it so much, he made his commitment yesterday. So he'll be a Eagle next year. But this, right now, he's a Keene SwampBat through and through. And in that 7 slot, he's a dangerous hitter.
So first up to the plate is going to be Michael O'Brien, playing center field today for the SwampBats. Takes the first pitch looking for strike 1. Corey Kling is a guy who certainly has the high velocity, checking in at 90 miles an hour right there, but you're going to want to watch out for the slider. That's been his best pitch throughout the season and has really given trouble to the opposing batters.
O'Brien with a new bat today, like we've seen plenty of times.
Chops that one down the line, foul. Behind in this count early, 0-2, and that's going to be a big key for these Waves pitchers today. 2 nights ago in Martha's Vineyard, it was a bit of a rough showing from the staff, and most of that came down to them just falling behind in counts early, walking quite a few batters. So the strategy has changed a bit, as last night we saw them attack the zone much more with some success against Danbury. You would imagine that Corey Kling is going to be sticking to that strategy here as he's ahead in this count 2-1.
Nice job by O'Brien to just, thought he was checking the swing there, but got the bat on it. Looks like he did go around, but nonetheless, it's a foul ball. And the thing with O'Brien is that, he's struck out. He struggled a little bit with the strikeouts, but keeps him very manageable. He's got 14 on the year, but he's drawn 7 walks as well, and he's been hit by a pitch, so he's able to get on base effectively.
He takes that pitch just outside. That's going to even up the count at 2-2. Corey Kling, as I mentioned, off to a very strong start so far on this season. The Waves will be hoping that he can pitch the majority of this 7-inning game, as he's going to be a big barometer for their success. That one is chopped over to the first baseman, Kale Paisano, who will take it over to the bag himself for out number 1.
And I like that Paisano was able to just make that play, get it started. And O'Brien put together a good at-bat, ran up 6 pitches, and like you mentioned, as Kling is going to want to get as far as he can into this, and his goal will be to kind of shut down these Keene hitters, especially early. You don't want to let things catapult or rather cascade into problems early in a game.
Yeah, always sets your team up for success when you can start the game off with a couple shutout innings defensively. That's what Corey Kling and the Waves will be looking for here. His first offering to the number 2 hitter, Jack Herring, is taken looking for ball 1. Herring lining up today in right field for the SwampBats.
That's where he's been outside of a couple of DH spot starts throughout the entire year. And yeah, like you said, that slider right around that 83-mile-an-hour mark. Not the biggest velocity gap between the heater and the slider, but man, it's got some movement.
Certainly does. Had about 8 inches of horizontal break at that one, coming in at
a splitter then.
84 from our track man. I do believe that was the splitter before. Kling's next offering misses upstairs for a ball. Count sits at 2-1.
Especially when you have such a good fastball that's able to spin, and then you go out a guy with 1,200 RPM or lower, it can be successful.
That one is hit pretty well out to center field. Gavin Greger is under it, and he will make the play for a loud out number 2.
That's been Herring's thing all year. He's started to find his groove at the plate, but you have seen hard contact, hard hit ball after hard hit ball throughout the entire year. He's just been a little unlucky. That's a really well hit ball. Went 310 feet, but just straight to the center fielder Greger. Not a bad AB by any means.
Yeah, 89 miles an hour off the bat. Real solid contact there from Jack Herring. But he'll have to hope he can do a little bit better next time, as that one ends up going right at Greger over in center field. Number 3 batter, Xavier Perez, checks in, DHing today for the SwampBats. Swings and misses at an off-speed pitch from Kling there. And Corey Kling has looked very solid to start this one off, trying to move through this first inning in order.
Interesting thing about Kling is he's pitching in a righty-righty matchup, goes with an outside slider, and maybe pitching him backwards is.
That one's hit well, and it's going to get down in left field in front of Zach Plashert for a 2-out single. So the SwampBats still alive in this inning. They get their first hit of the game, and now a 2-out rally may be in order as Chandler Tupou gets ready to take the plate.
Well, Xavier Perez is one of the best hitters on this team. There's a reason he's in the free slot. There's a reason he's the DH almost every day, and Perez has just had a really hot start when it comes to hitting. He came in a couple of weeks ago. This is his, I want to say, this is his 7th appearance as a SwampBat this year. And he just kind of took a slide or a splitter that was up in the zone and got the bat through, pulled it, and dropped it in no man's land and left. That was a great AB.
Perez certainly making an impact early, as he has recently joined this Keene SwampBats team. He sits over at first base with Tupou at the plate. Grounds one softly over to first, but it looked like it went off of the batter, as that's going to be a foul ball. Count sits at 0-2 here for Tupou. Corey Kling trying to get out of the inning after putting the first 2 batters away and letting up a single to Perez. (0-2) from Kling, hit pretty well. Taking shortstop Dagodi back, and he's going to make the play over in shallow center field. So the Waves get out of the first inning after allowing 1 base runner. This one's still knotted up, 0-0.
turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. New memories spark to motivate and make the industry shake. We put the balls in the breaks. I'm talking one chance at best, yes. Painting pictures for the culture, keep the brushes fresh. Flip the cover, work the drummer, passion never rest. Freedom is a teacher under pressure, now we blessed. Yeah, it's one all, one shot, now the future is yours. Let's go.
Back from Alumni Field for the bottom of the first inning. Game 1 of 2, as we are scheduled for a doubleheader here between the Waves and the SwampBats. On the mound, getting ready to get things started for Keene is the lefty, Alex Walsh. What can you tell me about the man on the mound?
Well, Alex Walsh has had a phenomenal start to his year in 2025 here with the Bats. He has yet to allow a run in 8 innings pitched and only 6 hits. Like I said, no runs. He's only walked 1 hitter and 7 strikeouts in those 8 innings. So almost a strikeout an inning. He's been really fantastic thus far this year.
Great start to the year for Walsh. As you touched on there, he's a guy who has had a little bit of an interesting path at the collegiate ranks. Started at University of Miami, then at Florida Southwest State, now at Jacksonville. So seems like he's starting to get comfortable and has found a nice spot for himself in Keene, as he's going to welcome the top of the Waves lineup here. Starting things off is the shortstop, Brandon DeGote. He'll be followed by right fielder Ryan Garrity and third baseman Justin Hackett, who is coming into this game on a big week, had a big performance last night in Danbury. But for DeGote at the plate, things started off very well for him this season. One of the youngest players in this Waves lineup, began the year 7 of 13 at the plate. He's going to pop up that first pitch. Does not look like there will be a play to be made. So the count moves to 0-1. DeGote went 0 for 4 with a walk last night in Danbury. He was named to the NECBL's Week 3 honor roll for the week of June 22nd. Trying to rediscover things a bit at the plate here, but has been a very solid piece in this Waves lineup.
Look at that just hit streak to start the year. It's impressive. First game that he played against Newport, that 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs, and just down the stat sheet, he's kind of cooled off a little bit, hitless in his last 4, like you mentioned. But if the guy can do that at the start of the year, there's no telling when he's gonna bring it back up again.
And DeGote, who just recently turned 19, did not see too much time in his freshman season at the University of Miami, but on 30 at-bats, he hit 2 home runs, so he's certainly a player with some pop. He's got 1 home run on the season so far with the Waves, but as you mentioned, things drying up at the plate just a bit recently. He'll be looking to get a knock early in this one. One-two to DeGote is chopped towards the gap. Great diving play over at third. Throw to first. Off the glove. What a play. What an effort by Nick Romano to stop that ball, even give the SwampBats a chance at getting the out there. It was a good stretch from Chandler Tupou over at first, but just couldn't quite make the play.
Yeah, really close, and I mean, just a great stop by Romano. And what a play that was. Just so close, just tipped off the end of Tupou's glove. Unfortunate, it'll be a single.
So a much needed base hit there for DeGote. He bats leadoff in the lineup tonight, replacing Greg Pate, who's been there most of the season for the Waves. Unfortunately, Pate suffered a knee injury last night, had to exit the game early against Danbury. Should be all right for the rest of the season, but did not make the trip to Keene today. Checking in as the number 2 hitter is Ryan Garrity, and he's going to hit that one over towards the shortstop, takes him back to the shallow outfield grass, and it's another infield single for the Waves.
It's a well-hit ball, and Bell kind of deep in the infield looking for that 2 ball, but you know, did a good job to get to it, make sure that the speedy DeGote was not able to round second, head to third. So 2 balls still in play for the SwampBats, but now they've got a dangerous hitter in Hackett to deal with.
Yeah, Justin Hackett started the season off a little bit rough, got taken out of the lineup for a little bit, but he has been on fire this week. At the beginning of the week, he hit 2 home runs on back-to-back at-bats against the Upper Valley Nighthawks, his first 2 long balls of the season. And then last night in Danbury, hit a solo shot in the 5th. In the 8th inning, had the bases loaded. A runner scored on a wild pitch, and on the next one, He sent the ball deep for a 3-run homer, so Hackett in these last 3 games has now taken the lead for home runs on this Waves team. And a long ball here could certainly put the Waves in a great position to start the game. Hackett even in this count at 1-1.
Comes to Hackett's hitting prowess at the plate, and the leaders in the NECBL, I believe Valley's outfielders leads the league in homers at the moment. I think he's got 5. So I scroll back and
I would imagine that could be Sebastian Mexico.
It's
outfielder.
not. It's actually Clay Burdett.
Okay.
Mexico has 4. There's a lot of guys who are tied at that 4 spot. Dylan Cupp is one of them who's not playing in this first game.
Hackett takes the 1-2 upstairs, and the count is even. SwampBats infield starting to creep in just a little bit, as of course the double play ball is in effect. They'll be hoping for something up the middle to help them get out of this jam with 2 on and nobody out.
Godey taking a big lead over there at second as well. I don't think Walsh is going to worry about him.
Walsh goes back to second. A little bit of an awkward throw that time, but it is kept in check over at second base.
Not sure if Walsh really meant to release that ball, but, you know,
I've seen that play a couple times
yeah.
through the season when pitchers try to turn around, make that quick pickoff move to second. I think they're very worried about firing the ball into the outfield. Of course, if you don't release it, it'll be a balk at that point. Right. So they tend to kind of just lob it in, which can be a little bit awkward for the infielder, but that time causes no problems for the SwampBats. Counts now full for Hackett with nobody on, with 2 on and nobody out. Payoff pitch is gonna miss as the Waves go for the double steal. Justin Hackett draws the walk, and the bases are loaded early for Gavin Greger.
Have to just be okay with letting in 1 run if you can get 2 outs. It's an unfortunate miss there from Walsh, but we'll bounce back. Lefty-lefty matchup should be able to help him here with Greger at the plate.
The Waves will certainly be happy that it is Gavin Greger at the plate. He's hitting .304 early in this season, went 2 for 5 with an RBI last night. Recently had an 11-game hit streak snapped. At the time, it was the longest active in the NECBL. And he gets a great piece of that one. That's going to score 1. Garrity rounding third and coming home. The throw in is not in time. That was a great throw that time. They're going to call obstruction on the catcher as well, as that tag was actually much closer than I anticipated. It was a great throw in left field from Gabe Pitts, but the single from Gavin Greger brings 2 across for the Waves.
Good piece of hitting from Greger, poking it the other way, and I guess maybe Reese just in the base path. We'll have a look at it. Yeah, Reese, I mean, I guess maybe that left foot got in the way. I don't know.
On that replay, it did look like Garrity beat the tag regardless, but it was a close play. Again, credit to Gabe Pitts making a fantastic throw into home plate. Unfortunately, though, the Waves do get the 2 runs across. Still nobody out, as Greger's going to take off for second. They pitch out, and he got a great jump that time, grabbing second base. So it's going to be runners at second and third, nobody out, as catcher Matt Brinker stands at the plate with a 1-0 count.
Not sure if that's just defensive indifference or a stolen base.
I think that Greger was very intentional with that one. After a big moment like that, the pitcher's mind is probably more on the play that just happened rather than the base runners. So takes off on the first pitch, and he's able to grab second base. Gavin Greger has shown off some great base running throughout the year. He stole 2 bags in the first inning last night against Danbury. Gets 1 today against the SwampBats, as there's a little meeting on the mound here for Walsh. Everybody just trying to get on the same page, as Matt Brinker still awaits the 2-0 pitch.
Ocean State has been able to put runs on the board despite a lower than league average batting average as a team. It's just more of a situation of them, I think, coming up in good spots and stringing together stuff, but you know, obviously 9-2 at Danbury. That's a big win for Ocean State last night, and they're on that 1 game now. Not really not a streak, but they've righted the ship, and Keene needs to do the same after losing getting shut out at North Adams on Wednesday.
Yeah, and you mentioned the average a bit low compared to the runs that they put up, as Brinker is going to pop that one up into the shallow outfield. It's the second baseman ranging back, making the play. Hackett faked like he was going to take off for home, but the runners will hold at second and third with one out. You mentioned the batting average is a little below what you'd expect compared to the runs that the Waves put up. I would say that comes back mostly to the base running tendencies.
Yeah.
They're very aggressive. We saw the stolen base already for Gregor, a double steal attempt earlier in this inning. They do a great job of manufacturing runs even when they're not getting the hits. So up to the plate now is the first baseman, Kale Paisano, sophomore out of Oregon. Got a nice piece of that first pitch, but it's going to be fouled off to the right side. Paisano was one of many Ocean State Waves batters that went hitless 2 games ago in the Vineyard. Waves got 1 hit by the Sharks. Gavin Gregor was the only man to get a base hit, so the 9-2 win last night, certainly a welcome change.
Vineyard has been a, they had a slow start to the year, and then they put together, I think, 6 or 7 wins in a row. So it was impressive to see how they kind of just bounced back, and they're right there in the division contest in the South.
Yeah, they've had a great recent run of form after starting the season. I believe it was 1-5.
Yeah.
You could now probably make the argument that the Sharks, maybe one of the hottest teams in the NECBL, probably right up there.
Especially hitting wise. I mean, they have both teams at a 260 batting average, and Martha's Vineyard, the only team with a 800 or more OPS in the league. So just the bats have been really consistent.
They did a great job getting on base in that 11-0 win over the Waves. Paisano takes a ball looking that time to bring the count to 2-2. Consequential at bat here with runners on second and third and just 1 away in the inning for Alex Walsh. Sounds like Paisano might have fouled that one off of himself, as it'll keep the count even at 2-2.
Well, Walsh is just trying to get through this inning as best he can, and something in the infield has a chance to score Hackett, but you might, as an infielder, you may look home first. Just try and stop that run from scoring, leave it at a 2-0 deficit. That works too.
Taken looking by Paisano for strike 3, so if you can't get the double play, the strikeout is probably what you're looking for in that situation. That's going to make it 2 out and 2 on for the Waves.
Walsh with a really nice changeup or some sort of off-speed pitch, came in at 77, and a guy who can get up to 91 just kind of pulled the string on that pitch. That's a really nice kind of get-back pitch for Walsh, and we'll see if he can kind of parlay that into some more momentum, get out of this inning.
First pitch to today's designated hitter, Brandon Duran, and he took a big swing that time. Can't blame him. He's got some serious pop, 2 home runs so far on the season for the Waves. He's one of very few Bryant Bulldogs that have put up back-to-back double-digit home run seasons, both 2025 and 2024. Takes that pitch inside for ball 1.
That one just missed. That's the best velocity we've seen from Walsh at 92 today. So he's running the numbers up at the moment.
Certainly looking to get out of the inning here, as he's already let 2 across. Duran fouls that one off. Brandon Duran has spent most of his time behind the dish this season for the Waves. He was one of their best hitters early on in the year, but as the Waves added some more catchers to the lineup, his playing time has become a little bit less consistent. One-two to Duran, taken upstairs to even things up. Brandon Duran, a great athlete, former Rhode Island Gatorade High School Football Player of the Year, was originally committed to the University of Kentucky, where he was going to play both football and baseball. And he swings and misses at that one, so it is strike 3. Walsh is able to get himself out of the jam relatively clean, but the Waves lead this one 2-0 at the end of the first inning. 74 degrees here in Keene, New Hampshire. Beautiful day for baseball. Cooling off a little bit after the heat wave we've experienced in the Northeast.
Ugh, brutal.
That made for some rough games of baseball, some really sweltering contests.
It was not comfortable here. Did you guys have home games Monday or Tuesday?
We did. It was 92 degrees at first pitch when the Waves welcomed the Upper Valley Nighthawks.
You guys have the help of a little bit, like, you know, the water being close.
Certainly.
We do not. So the the heat index at first pitch, I believe both Monday and Tuesday, was near or at 105.
Wow.
And in this press box, which is made of wood, which, you know, is pretty good at keeping heat in, it got toasty, that's for sure. I had to bring actually for my dorm room, my desktop's fan was putting in work at its highest setting on Tuesday while I was up here. And now it'll be put back after today at its home. But yeah, man, it was such a nice breeze, really just a perfect day for some ball here. This is very welcomed after earlier in the week.
Certainly, it's nice to not be so hot and sweaty during a game and just be able to relax and enjoy the nice weather. Corey Kling still on the mound here for the Waves. He's going to see 5, 6, and 7 in this SwampBats order. First, it's going to be Ripken Reese, SwampBats catcher today.
Yeah, and he was a catcher, a utility guy for Keene last year as well. 800 plus OPS, 8 home runs, 33 runs batted in for the utility guy out of Keene State. Catching this first game, and then one of TJ Schuyler or Zach Thompson will be the man behind the dish in game 2.
Always very valuable in the NECBL when you get a guy that can play a lot of different positions. That's something I've noticed throughout the season is it's really important to be able to shift your lineup when maybe somebody's not hitting so well, they pick up a small injury.
22 RBIs, excuse me. 33 would be an insane pace.
33 would be a very crazy pace. He's going to take that pitch looking.
Interestingly enough, for Ripken Reese, last year 2025 with the Golden Flashes, only 3 home runs. So I guess he's been more consistent in both times. He's almost to that number. He's got 2 right now, and both came in the same game, in the first against Valley last week.
Swings and misses that time to load things up. Ripken Reese certainly would be hoping to get an early knock here. We get the inning started well. Last time out, O'Brien grounded out, Herring flew out, Perez got the single, and then Tupou flew out to end the inning.
You're working with 2 outs, it can be tough.
And that time he's going to swing and miss for strike 3. Kling coming in at 85 miles an hour with that one, puts the pitch in the right spot and gets his first strikeout on the day.
It's a nice pitch and came in, like you said, at 85. It looked like a slider. You know, a fastball moving quicker than that, so a really nice pitch.
Yeah, the slider has been very key for Corey Kling's arsenal this year. That's the pitch you see him go to most often in the big moments. First offering for Romano rather, is swung on and missed. Nick Romano playing third today.
He's played every game at third for the SwampBats, not seen any rest. He's an everyday guy, middle of the order. Really productive bat. Leads the team in RBIs. Yeah, he does.
Also made a fantastic defensive play.
Oh, yeah.
On the first ball in play of the game, Brandon Degody ripped one down towards third, made a great diving snag and a good throw to first, but unfortunately it was a really close play, couldn't quite record the out.
We've seen a couple of times this year where just the infielders for the SwampBats just get balls that really they have no business getting to. It's been fun to watch. Romano has had no shortage this place yet, tied for the team lead in RBIs with 11 with Dylan Cupp.
Takes the 0-2 upstairs, so he stays alive in this one. Looking at the Waves infield from left to right, you've got Justin Hackett at third, Degody at short, Sam Seidel at second, Hale Paisano at first base.
Great take on the splitter. You can see just how much it even from our angle here along the third baseline, you can see how much it dives away from a left-handed hitter. Romano a switch hitter, but he's of course hitting lefty against the right-handed pitcher in Kling.
Yeah, over a foot of horizontal break on that last
Zips
pitch.
to the side.
It's a hard one to catch up to. That one Kling thought it might have clipped the corner for strike 3, but it's going to be just outside and load up the count at 3-2 with Ty Manalfi on deck. Payoff pitch. That one hit pretty well out to left field. Plasher chasing it down. It's going to reach fair territory. Should be extra bases. He will actually hold up at first. It was a good throw that time from Zach Plasher to keep the runner where he was, but a leadoff single, or a one-out single rather, for Nick Romano.
I mean, it doesn't matter how he gets on base. Just getting on without 2 on the board. You're trailing in this game. A good poke the other way, just kind of snuck into fair territory. That was very effective hitting. 3-2 count. You have to expand your zone because you still have 2 strikes. But man, that's a really great piece. And dropped it right between Plasher and Hackett.
So Ty Manalfi checks in. He's got the Dayton Flyers batting helmet on today, but as you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, a recent Boston College commit.
Yeah. I talked to him during batting practice today. I'm like, hey, are you going to use a different helmet today? He says, no, I got to keep it going until I start struggling at the plate. So, you know, hitters, baseball players in general, very superstitious when it comes to that sort of stuff. And hey, it's been working for him. So
Can't
why
mess
not
with the routine.
Why not change it? Or why change it?
Takes that pitch looking for strike 1. Manalfi has been on a heater, I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, 440 over his last 7 games. Not going to want to change the batting helmet until those numbers dip.
Not going to want to change anything. Just when you're so effective, he had the walk-off single in the bottom of the 9th against North Shore on Tuesday.
Kling checks back over at first base, but Romano is going to slide in safely.
Not a huge, you know, base stealer is Romano. He hasn't been caught this year.
Kling's pitch gets in there for strike number 2. And yeah, Romano has a healthy lead over there at first, maybe trying to play some mind games with the pitcher more than anything else.
Right.
I've seen that a lot through this season. Guys moving around a little bit extra on the base paths, just trying to get the pitcher a little distracted. Kling takes a look back to first, prepares his pitch. Hit pretty well, but popped up over towards Seidel at second base. He will make the routine play for out number 2.
Romano had a stab towards second and just knew that ball barely got out of the infield. Manalfi rising up the pitch count, already 31 pitches for Kling as we head in the 2nd inning. So Keene getting to the Ocean State starter, but he's still leaving scoreless and only allowed 2 base runners. So that's the thing that he's going to be happy about.
Yeah, Keene has done a nice job to at least be able to get a runner on base in both innings, as well as really working in these counts. It hasn't been a lot of quick at-bats. They're showing good fight at the plate, fouling off pitches, showing good takes. Andrew Bell up now for the SwampBats, playing shortstop today, the Duke Blue Devils product. Takes
Great
that
slider.
pitch looking for strike 1.
Well, Bell initially went to the portal when Duke's coach left the program, but decided once they hired the Wake Forest pitching coach, then he was going to stay on. So he is committed to Duke for next year.
Always interesting how the coaching changes affect college ranks.
Yeah.
Just how the transfer portal in general has really changed college sports. It has such a big impact on the NECBL. You have just as many guys that are trying to impress pro scouts, maybe hear their name called in the draft. You've got a lot of guys trying to get to that next level in the college ranks or find a better spot for themselves. That one hit pretty well out to right field. Ryan Garrity tracking and making the play near foul territory. So Corey Kling makes it 2 scoreless innings as the Waves still lead this one 2-0.
At M&T Bank, we believe in the power of together. Together, we can help your business grow. Together, we can move communities forward while giving back. Together, we can help your family spend more time on what matters most. And together, we can achieve more than ever before.
Bottom of the second inning here at Alumni Field. Stands beginning to fill up for game one of today's scheduled doubleheader. Alex Walsh remains on the mound for the SwampBats, currently trailing in this one 2-0. He's going to see 8, 9, and 1 in this Waves order. And second baseman Sam Seidel will be first to take the plate.
Well, Seidel, you look at his season, obviously scored a run yesterday, but 091 at the plate. He's driven for a little bit of a base stealing threat, 2 for 2 in that regard. But, you know, he's one guy in a lineup that has honestly, when you go down it, they've looked better than what their average indicates so far.
Certainly. Seidel is a guy in particular. As we were on the bus coming home last night, assistant coach Joe Laffman was going over some of his analytics with him. He went 0 for 4, but 4 for 4 on barrels, so got a little bit unlucky there. 4 well-hit balls that just didn't net him a base hit. Seidel was the everyday second baseman to start this season for the Waves. Spent a little bit of time out of the lineup, struggling at the plate. Degody, of course, emerging in the infield, but he's returned to the lineup recently and has been looking more consistent at the plate. Takes that first pitch upstairs for ball 1, and it is surprising that his average is so low right now, because playing his college ball at Bowling Green, he hit .324 this past season and .319 in 2024, so some serious consistency.
Yeah.
Of course, with the NECBL though, changing from aluminum to wood bats always is gonna provide some growing pains for the hitters.
It can be tough sometimes. Some guys gel with them a little bit better than others. But it's a true test of a baseball player's ability, especially with the level of competition that this league provides.
Certainly. 1-1 to Seidel.
Yeah.
Taking a look in there for strike 2. Really nice off speed.
Starts so far inside on the left-handed hitter in Seidel. And just, you know, you don't think, if you don't see it right out of the hand, you're like, hey, there's no way that curves back in. And Walsh is able to impart enough spin that it does.
1-2 from Walsh gets Seidel to go around, swinging right through a 90-mile-an-hour pitch there.
Yeah.
Walsh grabs his third strikeout in the last 3 batters.
That's the Walsh that we're used to seeing. Just took a couple of batters for him to settle in, and now 3 strikeouts on the day already. We'll see if he can keep it going, but just changing velocities, pulling the string on guys, that's what we're used to seeing.
It's going to be Zach Flasher checking in for the Waves. Played a little bit of everywhere this season, DHing first base, playing left field today. Swings and misses at the first offering for strike 1.
Is it a utility guy then? Because sometimes when guys play first and corner outfield, that's pretty standard.
Yeah, I would say kind of a utility guy. Definitely his primary position would be first, but ready to play wherever the Waves need him this season. Flasher recently made a trip back home to Arizona. Came back yesterday, rejoined the team. Was very excited that he was able to check in with his regular barber and get a haircut while he was back home.
Don't want to cheat on your barber, man.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Count sits at 2-1 here for Flasher. He struggled a little bit at the plate recently. Started the year off very well, but actually took a fastball off the wrist in Newport.
Ouch.
Took him out of the lineup for a couple days, as he's going to chop that one back to the pitcher. Routine play over to first, and that will be out number 2.
Play for Walsh. He knows he doesn't need to rush it, but sometimes when you're a pitcher, you got to come field your position. It can be tough to, you know, get back in and get into the groove of, hey, I got a field now, make a throw over. You don't need to zip it to your first baseman, and just kind of toss it over with plenty of time to spare. A good play. Yeah,
always something that's important, as you mentioned on there. You do see pitchers a lot when they have to field a ball, really try to fire something over to first, and their arms are just so strong it can really get away from the first baseman. Top of the Waves lineup back in, as looks like Degody might have caught his own helmet a bit with that one there.
Swung so hard it flew off, I think.
You may be right.
Yeah, it happens. Baseball helmets are, you think they're like tight, like bike helmets or motorcycle. They're really not. Guys like to have loose. You see, they're not as loose as they are, you know, the pro ranks where guys are zipping around the bases and they're flying off. But
definitely still something you see in the NECBL. The Goatee pops that one up. Coming over to make the play is the third baseman, Nick Romano. So Walsh puts him away in order in the second inning. We're going to move over to the the bottom of the second, where Ocean State leads it 2-0.
I'm sure to some degree a lot of these businesses are advertising. We're also Major League Baseball.
Back here in Keene, where the Waves still lead this one 2-0. Getting ready for the bottom of the second inning. Corey Kling still on the mound for the Waves. He's looked good so far. 1 strikeout, 2 hits allowed, but no runs as the Waves maintain their lead here. A little bit of discussion early in the inning between coaches and umpires.
Yeah, Sean McKenna's out there getting some sort of explanation from Brian Roth, third base umpire. Not sure what they're talking about, but who knows?
Yeah, it appears Waves assistant Joe Laffman is talking to another umpire who seems to be writing some things down, and it appears like there's going to actually be a substitution defensively here for the Waves. Zach Flasher walking gingerly off the field with head coach Jalen Borders. It appears his day is over, and it's going to be Jack LaRose checking in for the Waves. LaRose, normally an infielder. See him positioned over in left right now. In last night's game against Danbury, he got the start in left, his first start in left of the year. With Greg Pate leaving the game early, he moved over to third, and then before the night ended, switched spots with Justin Hackett playing at first base. So Jack LaRose, a guy who's played a little bit everywhere this year. He was joking around with general manager on the way to the game today that he can catch if needed. That one bunt attempt is going to go foul.
This is something that Pitts is very, very good at. And when it comes to his hitting prowess, he's a good hitter, but man, he is probably I would say he's the fastest base runner on the team, and just he's really good when it comes to laying down bunts. We'll see if he goes back at it.
He won't go for the bunt that time as he takes that pitch upstairs for ball 1.
It's a first pitch, sort of surprise thing. But you see Hackett over there. He's crept in towards the middle of the infield, trying to stop a bunt if it comes at him.
Yeah, always nice when you can offer that threat, go for the surprise bunt. Now it kind of changes the defensive alignment for the rest of the at-bat, whether you intend to go back to that or not.
Yeah. Yeah, LaRose looks like, just listed as an infielder, but hey, he can play anything, huh?
Yeah, really can. He's spent most of his time at first base this year, has played at third and second as well, as I mentioned. First start in left field came last night, so lucky for him that he was able to gain a little bit of experience in that spot before getting called on here today. See him still limbering up a bit in the outfield. Pitch is fouled off that time and evens the count at 2-2.
And Pitt's just doing a great job of staying alive, and obviously he's going to have to choke up here, and you can't pull out a bunt, but came in left field last game.
And he's going to swing right through that one for strike 3. And little bit of an awkward play there as he took off like it was a drop third strike. I could see Matt Brinker showing the home plate umpire the ball, saying, hey, I did indeed catch it.
But I mean, why not go if you think
of course
there's a chance?
That is the second strikeout of the game for Corey Kling. It's going to flip over the SwampBats lineup with leadoff man Michael O'Brien checking back in. 0 for 1 so far on the day, grounded out to his first time up, as he's going to fly that one right over the first baseman, Kale Paisano. Couple of waves trying to chase down that ball, but it's going to drop foul.
Yeah, lucky for O'Brien that you want it to land fair, but Garrity, Seidel, and Paisano had enough speed to get over there. Somebody was going to snag that if it stayed fair. So you look at the dimensions here, just odd. It's one of the fields that some of the fields are very uniform, very traditional. This one is not that. 354 to the right field pole is the deepest part of the ballpark here at Alumni Field. 325 to left, and then 352 to left center. So it just kind of slants away from you as a left-handed hitter. So you got to have some power to get it out.
Yeah, definitely an interesting setup. The NECBL has quite a few of those. Newport's Cardines Field sticks out.
So does Vermont with 420 feet to straightaway center.
I haven't been there yet, but
it is something.
Bristol Blues similar.
Yes.
Very deep outfield in Bristol.
And it correlates as well. Keene usually pretty high up there when it comes to home run numbers at the end of the year. I think Keene led last year when it comes to home run numbers, and that's not just because they have some same players. It's just because the stadium to help.
Yeah, a little bit of a hitter's ballpark here, and especially if you are a returning guy to the team and you know the spots, it can certainly work in your favor. Kling still facing off with O'Brien here. Count sits at 1-2. O'Brien's going to foul off another pitch, so that has not changed for the SwampBats throughout this game. They're doing really well at fighting off pitches and driving up this pitch count for Corey Kling as he gets prepared to throw his 46th ball of this game.
The thing with getting a guy's pitch count up is that Keene has been really solid in the later stages of the games. So they'll want to get through their starter as fast as they can.
And it's always important to be able to have your starter go the desired amount of innings, but extra important today for the Waves is this is game one of a doubleheader. Being the visiting team, there's only so many pitchers that traveled.
Right.
So you're looking at situations where you only have so many arms, and you really need Kling to be able to go for a while so that things can go to plan in game two.
Yeah, it counts as two different games in the schedule and in the standings and all that, but it is almost just one long game split up. That's, 2 9-inning games would be pretty insane, but especially when you have, there's more doubleheaders than are usually scheduled at the start of the year, just because of rainouts and how often these teams play. You're playing 44 games in 8 weeks here in the summer in New England, so you have to get a little creative. Sometimes you have to stack up some games. That's what we're seeing here today.
Count is full here for O'Brien. Kling trying to grab the second out in this inning. And O'Brien's going to foul off yet another pitch, so SwampBats really doing a great job at getting that pitch count up, as we've talked about already. And like you were saying, yeah, it is really one big, long game if you think about it. The strategy of game one bleeds right into game two. There's going to be lots of lineup turnover.
You learn about your opponent, guys. There's going to be some changes, but you learn so much about your opponent.
That one's hit pretty well by O'Brien. Degody and Hackett going back. Degody calls him off, comes all the way into foul territory to make that play for out number 2.
So still effective pitching, and that first inning is becoming more and more important as we go through the stages of this game. Just for Ocean State to score their first 2, hitters of the day is really impressive.
Yeah, and it certainly gives Corey Kling a little bit more confidence on the mound. Not that he really needed that. He's been off to a hot start this season, but always good to have a couple runs in your back pocket. first pitch to the number 2 hitter, Jack Herring.
Herring, again,
taking down low for a ball.
A guy who had a really hard hit ball in the first to fly out to center. It's been just the story of his season, like I mentioned earlier. He's hitting the ball hard, just hasn't found the spots.
He did go around that time, so it's going to even up the count at 1-1. Yeah, as you mentioned, Herring roped one out to center field. It was unfortunately right at Gavin Greger. Chops the 1-1 over the head of Kling. Degody charging in, has a little bit of trouble, but spins and throws for out number 3. A great play by Brandon Degody to end this inning for the Waves, where they still lead it 2-0. Bottom of the third here in Keene, New Hampshire. Beautiful day out today, as it's going to be 2, 3, and 4 coming up in this Waves order. Alex Walsh remains on the mound for the SwampBats. We were just talking about in the booth, we've got a nice uniform matchup going today. I like the yellow alternates that Keene broke out.
Yeah, they're doing Friday home games. This is the Friday and weekend home games, which really there aren't too many in the season, but that's what they're going to wear, these yellow uniforms. Some people call them the SpongeBob uniforms. I'm not sure what the inspiration is, but they do look pretty sharp. They debuted them, I want to say, a couple of weeks back. The second time they hosted Upper Valley this year.
Yeah, the Waves going with the navy blues today. Playing pretty well, actually, off the yellow and purple. I must say I'm a little bit more partial to the baby blue and whites that the Waves break out.
Man.
They had those last night in Danbury. Ryan Garrity at the plate here for the Waves, number 2 hitter.
Do you know if they'll change for the second game since they'll be the away team?
I don't believe they will. Unfortunately, we talked about this before the broadcast. A couple guys forgot jerseys. There's a little bit of musical chairs being played with the clothing, so you don't want to overcomplicate things by changing them. Garrity takes that one, looking for strike 1. Ryan Garrity, one of a few Northeastern Huskies on this roster, joined in the lineup by Matt Brinker. Both of them actually had the really unique opportunity to play against the Boston Red Sox in an exhibition game back in February. Garrity gets a great piece of that one, but it's going to be right to the center fielder O'Brien for out number 1.
O'Brien really didn't have to go that far. That ball was hit softer than I initially thought. It came out at only just under 80 miles an hour, so maybe just a little bit under it or off the end of the bat.
Yeah, I think
he
might have gone under that one just a bit. Of course, with the wooden bats, a lot of times you can just tell by the sound how far a ball is going to go. That one had the sound of a harder hit ball than what we actually saw on the TrackMan.
Yeah, my guess would be just kind of off the end.
Justin Hackett at the plate here takes a big swing for strike 1. We talked already about the big week he's having. He drew a walk back in the first inning. This is the highest he's been in the lineup this year. Usually finds himself in the bottom third, hitting third today. Behind in this count early 0-2, as Walsh has really been moving through these Waves batters quickly. Since Gavin Greger's RBI single, the Waves have yet to get a base runner. It's been 7 straight batters retired by Walsh. Nearly makes it 8 there, but he's just going to miss, and the count moves to 1-2 for Hackett.
Now both pitchers are really humming at effectiveness, and it's a game that I think is closer than the 2-0 scoreline indicates at this point.
Did Hackett go around that time? They will say, yes, he did. Strike 3 for Justin Hackett, and that makes it 8 consecutive batters retired by Walsh.
It's pretty effective, and 4 of those by way of the K. So high strikeout numbers is something that we're accustomed to seeing from Alex Walsh. I turn back my pages to his most recent start. I want to say that may have been, gosh, when would that have been? I think I'm missing a game in here.
Gavin Greger checking in for the Waves, hitting cleanup today. Of course, his first time around had that big 2 RBI single, stole a base as well during that trip. Gavin Greger has been a huge part of this Waves lineup, has played in just about every game this season, starting in center field, both offensively and defensively. A real consistent piece for Ocean State. Swings and misses at a pitch down low that time. That would even things up.
You think he saw a fastball out of the hand there?
I think
maybe
that's what he was going for, yeah.
Yeah, Walsh last time he was played in the first game against Valley, again in a doubleheader, 4 innings, 3 hits, no runs, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. So much more efficient on the strikeout side of things this time around, and now he's hunting for his 5th.
He'll have that chance as the count moves to 1-2. It's Matt Brinker on deck for the Waves, and as you mentioned, it's a much closer game than the scoreboard might tell you. It was really just some situational baseball from the Waves. Couple infield singles,
good base
a
running
walk,
too.
Loaded the bases. Very good base running. That's been a strong suit for the Waves all season. Greger swings right through that one for strike 3, so it's another productive inning for Walsh. Puts a 0 on the board as we move to the 4th inning. My broadcast partner, Andrew Hillman, will take over play-by-play duties. We'll be right back.
All right, top of 4, and the team that's functioning as the away team, the SwampBats, do up 3-4-5. It's Xavier Perez, Chandler Tupelo, and Ripken Reese. None of whom, or except for, rather, Perez had a single in the first, and then Tupelo and Reese have both failed to reach base early in this one. Andrew Hillsman here with Dan Shea, the broadcaster for the Ocean State Waves, and Corey Kling has been wheeling and dealing for the first couple of innings here today.
Yeah, Corey Kling has looked great, picking up right where he left off. All of his starts have been very productive this season for the Waves. He's definitely their ace early in this season. 1.13 ERA.
As much as you can define an ace in the NECBL, guys, teams have different rotations. Teams have, I don't know, is there a 5-person rotation for you guys? It kind of varies.
It changes sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes they go with a little bit of a Trojan horse starter where they'll have somebody out of the pen, give them an inning
an
or
opener.
two.
Yeah.
Yep.
Trojan horse start, interesting.
Yeah,
usually I've just heard it called an opener, but I like that one. That's interesting.
See, I never played baseball. I'm a lacrosse guy, so I'm not up with some of the lingo.
Fair,
sometimes
honestly,
I just go with my own stuff.
I like that one. I think it makes sense. Sometimes people try it and just whiff, but I think that one works. Perez will stand in. He's hitting 375 on the year. This guy's a really good-looking swing, compact from that right side of the plate. Led Houston, the Cougars, in batting average, homers, and RBI in 2025 as a redshirt freshman. So Perez will stand back in. 1-0 is the count to King, or count from Kling. Perez will look at eye level.
Again, his first time around, Perez, a nice piece of hitting for a single. That was the first hit of the game, of course, for the SwampBats.
It's an interesting split the Bats with plenty of lefties, plenty of switch hitters in their lineups, but almost 80 points lower, almost 80 points lower in the average department against righties rather than lefties. So it's an interesting sort of split so far in the year. You're at a point in the year where, you know, those average stats and the counting stats start to, you know, give you a true picture of how a guy or how a team is doing throughout the year.
Yeah, definitely. When you're 5-6 games into the season, that's really just a microcosm of what we're going to see for the rest of the summer. But game 17 today for the Waves, this is when you really start to see where guys are at.
It's game 18 for the SwampBats, who are 14-3, a league best total wins and winning percentage. Undefeated in home games and at home thus far this year. 3-1 to Perez, he whiffs on it. It's a good swing, but a better pitch. That 87-mile-an-hour fastball right by the bat. 3-2 runs at 4. Middle infielders are shifted back in the middle of the infield, or deep in the infield, almost to the short outfield grass. 3-2. And a foul tip off the catcher's mask as Brinker will wear that one.
Yeah, that one will wake him up. Not a painful one, but as a guy
It's
who
loud.
used to be a lacrosse goalie,
Oh, yeah.
it's scary when an object comes that fast right at your eyes. As I said, just wakes you up back there.
Yeah. Foul tip when you know where it's going to go if it doesn't hit a bat, and the bat redirects it right into your face. So that's always a fun time. Yeah. It doesn't hurt, like you said, but it's very loud to your ears. Boom.
Catchers the bravest, or some may say the craziest players on the diamond.
I'd argue sometimes both. 3-2 again. The 7th pitch of the at-bat to Perez is outside, a great take. And Perez is on with leadoff walk in the field.
Yeah, really good take that time from Perez. Came in at 90 miles an hour from Kling, just missing the zone low and away. Had almost a foot of break on it, so a lot of speed, a lot of movement on that pitch. But again, great job by Perez to hold off and draw the walk.
Brings up Chandler Tupou, who has had one of the most consistent eyes at the plate. He has the least strikeouts on the team in players that have played the majority of the games, only 6 on the year compared to his 4 walks drawn, but not striking out. He puts balls in play and a really consistent swing. Double digit runs batted in on the year as well.
Big opportunity here for the SwampBats, as that actually represents the first inning in this game where the leadoff man has gotten aboard. So gives him a big opportunity for a big inning.
Just have to avoid the 2-ball. 0-1 to the first baseman Tupou. Good job by Brinker to attempt the pick, but keep the ball in front of him. Especially with a lot of teams, I don't know how it is at Old Mountain Field where you guys play, but a lot of teams in this league have very deep backstops. North Adams has an extremely deep one. Keene is pretty far back there as well, so if pitches get by, it's easily a free base. Tupou puts this one in play to the right side, and they'll take the out at first as Perez moves over to second.
Yeah, going back to the backstops there, I mean, Old Mountain, pretty average. I would say Valley is one with definitely a deep backstop. When the Waves played against Valley, that actually gave them a couple of runs, a couple of passed balls that took some weird hops, but always something interesting, as all these ballparks have a little quirks you got to get used to.
They do. So the first runner in scoring position of the day for the SwampBats is Xavier Perez, with Ripken Reese to the plate. He's hitting 194, 2 home runs and 6 batted in. First pitch to him, a pop-up that goes out of play. Just missed on it and timed up, it looked like pretty well. Just the barrel under it. Reese, like we mentioned, he's seen some time in the DH slot. He's seen some action at second. He actually made some great plays in the field at second. He was a SwampBat last year, but he's a catcher by trade. He's behind the plate for the first game this afternoon. 0-1. Breaking ball is high end of the zone, but called a strike.
And I must say, I appreciate the accessories today from Reese. I like that purple arm sleeve. Certainly works well with the jerseys.
Rocking the black batting gloves, it looks like. Yeah, a lot of guys on this team are arm sleeve guys. It's interesting. 0-2. And it's high and inside for ball 1.
It is always something you see with the different teams. They do the uniforms a little differently. Martha's Vineyard Sharks, those guys are all rocking the high socks. Not seeing that so much on the field today, but yeah, as you mentioned, Keene, a lot of arm sleeves.
It's a couple of guys. One of the relief pitchers for Keene, Marcello Mastriani, wears the stirrup-looking socks. This one's hammered out to right field, but that'll go foul. That ball hit very hard.
102 off the bat that time, 356
early.
the distance.
Would have gotten out.
Some young fans heading to the bushes over and right to get that one.
Give it to the little man. There you go. Love it. He's happy. And the 1-2 from Kling. Barely gets a piece of it to Reese. And we stay at 1-2. Already up to almost 70 pitches is Kling through 4 innings, or through 3 innings full. So I gotta imagine that this is probably going to be, there's a little bit of motion, just some warm-up stuff for one of the relievers in Ocean State's bullpen, but definitely want him to finish this inning.
Seems like Nolan Peel is getting loose out there, but not throwing any pitches yet, so I wouldn't say there's any imminent substitution.
1-2, another foul ball back our way off the catcher. So Reese running the count up, but he's shaking his head as he wants to put a ball in play and bring his teammate home. Something in the gap has a good chance to score Perez, who's no slouch on the base paths. He stole 10 bags as a first baseman, left fielder, and DH at Houston in 2025. Another 1-2. 7th pitch of the AB. That's high, barely snagged it. Did the catcher, Matt Brinker. 2-2.
Be really interesting to see after the game just how many foul balls the SwampBats have hit. Seems like every at-bat gets at least one.
Got a couple, that's for sure. 2-2 on its way as Kling comes set again. And he'll step off and give a check to Xavier Perez. No throw, as Perez has yet to nab a bag with Keene. He's a smart base runner, and Ripken Reese looking to drive him in here. 2-2. Swing and a drive, high and deep to center field, at the wall, see ya! A no-doubt shot ties the game. Ripken Reese, 101 off the barrel, and it's 2-2. We're all tied here on the top of the 4th.
Yeah, Ripken Reese got every stitch of that baseball. I was watching Gavin Greger over in center field right when that came off the bat. He gave it a little jog to the fence, but he knew that thing was gone. He was looking up the whole time. 101 off the bat, just crushed from Reese.
Ripken Reese in the first game of doubleheaders is, I guess, just a different animal. He had his first 2 home runs of the season against Valley here at Alumni Field. That ball was just hammered out the center field, got above the trees, and exit angle of 33 degrees. That's a no-doubter in every sense of the word. And at some ballparks in this league, it's not a homer, but enough to get out here at Alumni and ties the game up. And like we mentioned, you and I were talking that this game is closer than the 2-0 score. These teams very evenly matched thus far.
And there you see, quite literally, one swing of the bat, and all of a sudden we got a brand new ball game here at 2-2 in the top of the 4th.
Fly ball out to right field, no man's land, and Seidel makes the play, facing away from the plate. And now 2 away, as Romano goes down on just a couple of pitches.
Nice job from Seidel that time. I could see him kind of hesitating a little bit as he continued to go back. I thought that one had a chance to drop between him and Garrity, but the second baseman covering a lot of ground that time to make the play.
This brings up Ty Manolfi, who popped out to Seidel in the second inning as the second out of that frame. Mostly cloudy here, but very cool when it comes to temperature-wise as the dribbler to the right side goes foul. Look at Ryan Fitzpatrick over there ready to make the play. He's in the infielder stance, but
love to see it.
Oh yeah,
gotta have that head on a swivel.
Former first baseman in his days. I think he played in high school.
That's the muscle memory.
Oh yeah, yep. Subconscious. 0-1 to Manolfi, who's ready again. Flares the bat at it. High out to left center field, and the center fielder will make the play. That's Gavin Greger, who puts it away for out number 3, but not before Ripken Reese ties this game up with a center field home run. We're tied at 2 as we head into the home half of the 4th. SwampBats and Waves when we come back.
What I'm looking for in a bank is one that's looking out for me, like NBT. I want a relationship and a team that supports me and my dreams, like NBT. And let's face it, life can get challenging. I need a bank that's focused on me. They've been rated tops in all the things that matter, like trust, customer service, and financial advice. So when I need a bank I can trust, it's always NBT and me.
Rondé Barber here. Being in the NFL for 16 years, I've dealt with my fair share of bumps and bruises. But typical ice packs never stayed cold long enough, were messy, and inconvenient. HurtSkirt offers the same long-lasting treatment as ice does, but without the hassle. HurtSkirt uses no antifreeze chemicals, ensuring that panels freeze solid and stay colder for longer. Drop the ice, skirt the hurt. Use code BARBER20 for 20% off and free shipping at hurtskirt.com.
Bottom of the fourth, and Alex Walsh returns to the mound as he'll face Brinker, Paisano, and Duran, the 5-6-7 hitters for the Ocean State Waves. And this game is right back to where we started, a 2-2 tie, as the catcher Ripken Reese blasted one to center field to tie the ball game up.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting as this one moves forward here. Brand new ball game now, tied back up at 2. The Waves bats have been a little bit quiet since that big first inning. Haven't recorded a hit since Gavin Greger's RBI single in the first. It's been 9 consecutive batters retired by Walsh. Matt Brinker hoping to break that streak here.
Yeah, Walsh has been on a roll, and so was Kling, as his pitch count is higher than what Walsh is at the moment. Walsh winds and deals as he's just throwing his 50th pitch.
About 20 below where Corey Kling's at.
Well, he started off just those 2 singles, a couple of hard hit balls through the infield, and then a 2 RBI single from Gavin Greger. Put him down, but he rallied back and has thrown really 9 consecutive outs that have been pretty phenomenal to watch.
Yeah, 9 consecutive outs, 5 of them being strikeouts. He's looked great at the mound, really settling into this game.
2 balls, no strikes to Brinker as this one's hit well to right field. Moving in on it is Herring. He ranges to his right and makes the play.
Yeah, loud contact that time from Brinker, but he just gets under it a little bit. 90 miles an hour off the bat, but it goes pretty much straight up in the air, only about 220 feet in distance.
The wind has been changing around. Pre-game, it was blowing in, so we didn't really see a lot of homers in batting practice, but
starting to feel a bit more of a breeze up here.
It's going out a little bit. It's changing every which way. First pitch, and pulls the string on Kale Paisano, the Oregon product. Oregon, a team that a lot of people expected to go further in the NCAA tournament, but what a tournament that was.
It certainly was. The Waves manager, Jalen Borders, was unable to join the team for quite a while because he was on the staff of the Louisville Cardinals, who, of course, made a very deep run to Omaha.
They did, yeah. We still have him on the roster. Jake Monroe, the third baseman for the Cardinals, is still on the roster, but not sure if he'll come. And, oh, hello. Ripken Reese will have a laugh about that as he got back up, as Pisano goes down on 3 straight strikes, and he's not happy with it, understandably. So that's the 6th strikeout of the day for Alex Walsh, the lefty out of Boynton Beach, Florida.
And 11 consecutive batters now retired. Walsh, if he can keep this thing up, it's going to be very difficult for the Waves to squeak ahead in this one.
Yep. Here comes Walsh again. First pitch to Brandon Durand is just off the plate. Yeah, these I'm a fan of these uniforms. I'm a big fan of how these look. And the bat, the little teal barrel kind of ties it all together. It's not the same shape, but it's close enough for government work.
Yeah, the Waves just have great colors. You really can't go wrong when you've got a little bit of baby blue in there.
No, you can't. Talk about Valley's uniforms as well. Those are pretty sweet.
Yeah.
As much as I hate to say it, the Cardinals' alternate uniforms in Major League Baseball.
Those are nice. Those are very nice.
As much as I hate to give them credit, I will. 1-1 on the way to Duran, the designated hitter who struck out once. That one's just high at the letters. 2-1.
Brandon Duran actually spent last summer with the Matsu Miners of the Alaska League.
Yes,
I was talking to Duran a little bit about that. He said he enjoyed his time in Alaska, but you do everything there is to do out there pretty quickly.
Right. 2-1 is high. Yeah, I had a friend who was a broadcaster for one of the teams out there last summer or 2 summers ago, and he said that they could play games. They could start games at 11 p.m. because the sun just doesn't set.
Wow.
Tip in the netting. It's. I've never been there. Have you been to Alaska?
I have not, but that would
do
certainly.
you know how many states you've been to?
Oh man, off the top of my head, no. I would say probably less than 10.
Okay, really? Huh.
Mostly a New England guy.
Okay, fair enough. Payoff pitch on its way to Duran, and the windup from the lefty. Foul tip, and Ripken Reese is certainly happy he's wearing a mask today.
You seem very prepared for that question, Andrew.
Yeah,
do you know how many states you've been to?
I do. It's 27.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. You're a little over halfway
now,
through the map.
I added about 4 when I came out here because just kind of driving through, you catch a bunch. But you know, I've been to. I count if you like land in an airport.
Okay.
You can't, obviously flying over doesn't count. Swing and a miss, strike 3. We'll have to continue our discussion when we head to the top of the 5th. But Alex Walsh, 7 strikeouts here on the day, and Keene still is in a tied up game, 2-2. We head into inning number 5. Well, his arm hasn't fallen off yet, but he's throwing 80 pitches. And Corey Kling, who's been effective to this point in the game, he's back out for inning number 5. And man, impressive, Dan, because he's thrown 80 pitches at this point. They want to leave him out there. They want to get him 5 innings. I look over to the Ocean State bullpen. Still, nobody's throwing. They are trusting their guy. I like the confidence.
They've got serious confidence in Corey Kling, and it's warranted. His ERA is around 1 heading into this game. He's looked solid through 4 innings. Of course, let up the home run to tie the game up. But, yeah, the plan was for Kling to go 5 innings today. The Waves are sticking with that despite the pitch count being a little bit high. But for a guy who's thrown less than 40 total innings in the collegiate ranks, certainly some big trust for him to be taking it now over 80 pitches on the day.
So a fresh count to the 8-slot hitter, Andrew Bell, a shortstop today from Duke. He hits this one high out to left field. Racing in out is LaRose, and he will have to ease off his gas pedal. He can't get to it. 0-1.
And that would have been a nice development there for Corey Kling if he could have started this thing off with a 1-pitch at-bat. 75 pitches now on the day.
You just need efficiency at this point. We're talking about pant colors in between the innings and how some individuals may have forgotten some key parts of their uniforms at home. These things, they happen.
Corey Kling checking in at number 4 today rather than his usual number 2.
I don't think the topic of discussion between the coaches is going to be, hey, we're mad at you for getting your jersey because he's been pitching so well.
Certainly. He's earned it.
Yeah. 1-1 to Bell, who is yet to pop a homer this year. Brinker lets that one fly away from his glove. 2-1. Andrew Bell, last time that Keene wore these uniforms, he was credited with the game-winning RBI. Not off a single, not off a home run. No, he drove in the winning run by getting hit right in the thigh by a pitch against Upper Valley.
You'll take that.
Yeah. And he's still got the water cooler treatment, all that, as he rounded first.
Of course.
Good
trade-off.
Yes, of course.
A bruise for a win.
Yeah.
Looks like there is some action in this Waves bullpen now. That's Nolan Peel up and working. Another guy who's got a jersey change today, usually number 27. Looks like he's going to be 19 today.
Musical chairs. This one's hit high into the sky right field. Garrity has a beat on it, makes the play.
And that's big for Kling to start things off with an out, as you would expect this is going to be his last inning of the day. You just don't want to see it get extended longer than it has to, or see him fall under any additional pressure early.
So now we'll see with Gabe Pitts to the plate, you see Hackett creep up towards the infield grass.
See if he goes for the surprise bunt on the first pitch once again.
Is it really a surprise if he already did it? We'll go to it here as he checks his swing. It's called a ball low. Pitts was originally brought in as a temporary guy, but he was so successful and has that speed that can be a weapon for Keene. They have kept him on.
Always great to see that.
Right.
A local guy.
Yep.
From New England, went to Worcester Academy,
Great guy,
Central Connecticut State.
Real funny personality, that's for sure. One guy to watch take an AB as well. 2-0 is now he's ahead 3-0. You imagine he has the take sign here.
You would think so. Is
want to lose a 3-0 advantage.
And you like the idea of extending the inning for
That's right. Yep. Especially when you give a relief pitcher or you have to have a relief pitcher come in the middle of the inning. It can be tough.
Definitely.
There's a strike.
And I would say the hope for the Waves is that they only have to use 2 arms in this one.
It's a goal for, I think, both teams.
Yeah, so it would definitely change things if Kling can't finish this inning.
3-1. Swinging a drive, right field. Back it goes at the wall, and it'll die at the warning track. So close for Gabe Pitts. Still looking for that first home run. Came off the bat at 90 miles an hour. And just died at the warning track. Maybe the win, but that's a hard hit ball for Gabe Pitts.
Yeah, that was a really hard hit ball. I can see the reaction from Corey Kling on the mound. He thought there was a shot. He had let up his second home run, but Ryan Garrity able to get under it and make the defensive play. He records the second out of the inning.
Just talking to Gabe, he wants to hit that first homer as bad as I've seen anybody want anything. He knows he's got the power. He's got the tools, just hasn't clicked for him yet. That was a really well hit ball, loud out. This brings up Michael O'Brien, who played last year at Mississippi State. Hard ground ball to shortstop. Degody makes the play, tosses over to Paisano at first for out number 3. Bats go 1, 2, 3. Game still tied at 2 when we come back.
What makes a great team hat? It starts with a Z. For decades, Zephyr has been making the most iconic headwear in the game, trusted by teams, colleges, and pros. We cut out the middlemen and work directly with our manufacturers, so you get top quality, fast turnaround, and prices that make sense. From bold designs to unbeatable fit, Zephyr hats are built to match the quality of your team, right down to the last stitch. Zephyr Team Headwear, born from experience, built for teams that stand out.
New arm on the mound for the SwampBats as we head into the bottom half of the 5th inning. It's Keene Vorster, a righty out of Louisville. And Vorster had an up and down season of 5'11" right-hander out of Noonan, Georgia. Pull up his file on the year. And he's made 4 appearances, 2.25 ERA. So he's been good, struggled a little bit with walks in a couple of outings, but has some strikeout stuff. Was really solid against North Shore. 1 inning, allowed a run, but it wasn't earned. No hits and 3 strikeouts. So over recent times, he's been very solid and has only allowed, looks like. 3 runs, only one of which has been earned on the year. So he's been successful.
And you can see right there, Waves manager Jalen Borders having a little conversation with Sam Seidel, with his other batters getting ready to come up. Borders, as I mentioned, spent this past season on the Louisville Cardinals staff, so he's very familiar with Forster. You would imagine he's got some tips for his hitters, or just maybe a couple things to look out for at the plate.
Yeah, Forster, a guy who can spin the ball pretty well. So we'll see how it gets along. And the new pitcher for the Bats will climb the mound. Final stat line for Alex Walsh goes as follows: 4 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 runs, both of which were earned, 1 walk and 7 Ks for Alex Walsh. That's a season high for an outing.
Really productive day. Both of those earned runs came in the first inning. That was when all of his base runners came. As a matter of fact, he let up the RBI single to Gavin Greger, and then he retired 12 straight. So a productive day from Walsh.
And it brings up Sam Seidel, who was 0 for 4 yesterday and is 0 for 1 today. So he looks at the first offering from Forster that's high at head level. And Bowling Green, a known enjoyer of some action.
Of course.
The Mid-American Conference. If you like Tuesday football games, then watch MAC football. Bowling Green State Falcons.
Always enjoy, too, when you get an Eastern Michigan game, you get to see that gray field.
Yeah, it's
funky.
Something, yes. What a unique conference that is, man. 1-1 from Forster. Foul tip to the backstop makes it 1-2.
And Seidel, as I mentioned before, the stats don't really show it, but he's a guy where the Waves have been pretty happy with his progression at the plate.
Yeah.
The underlying stats, the analytics are showing improvement, while the batting average isn't necessarily climbing yet. He spent about 12 days out of the lineup, just really working on his hitting, working on some things at the plate. Got reinserted earlier this week.
1-2, swing and a miss. And the first batter that Forster faces, he sends down on strikes, 1 away in the home half of the 5th. First strikeout of the day for Forster, and they'll now have a look at Jack LaRose, who is making his hitting appearance in for Zach Plashert, who was pulled from the game earlier. First pitch to him is high, and LaRose on the year, 256, 10 for 39 at the plate. He scored 11 runs, so, he's been able to score runs, not as many driven in. 13 strikeouts to 8 walks, so not a bad hitting season thus far.
Does a good job getting on base. Last night, as I mentioned, he lined up in a couple different spots. He went 1 for 3 with an RBI, drew 2 walks as well. You can see he's sporting the little mustache recently. Usually pairs that with the Aviators. Has earned himself the nickname Officer LaRose.
It's like a 80s cop sort of thing looking.
Yeah, some Miami Vice action.
Yep, sure. Looking more like, Tom Cruise and Top Gun, maybe.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he'd take that.
I don't want to give him too much credit. Maybe he can come up with that one himself, and then we'll judge up here. But he's well on his way towards it. 2-1 is a little high.
Yeah, Jack LaRose, actually, some deep baseball roots in his family. His father, John, a Providence College alum, also spent time with the Boston Red Sox.
He ever make it to the majors?
He did with the Red Sox.
Okay. Not sure if it was organization ball or that one just high. Reese tried to bring it back down, but it'll be a 1-out walk for Jack LaRose. A lot of Red Sox fans around here. That's the team, I think, around these areas. Where I'm from, Midwest, it's a lot of Cub fans in Indiana, some Reds fans as well, but it's sometimes you just get the odd, just I'm a fan of whoever, Dodgers, it's that sort of stuff. There's no team in Indiana outside of the Indianapolis Indians, who are a great watch, but nobody really wants to cheer for the Pirates, and I can't blame them. Nothing to one.
Yeah, New England tends to be pretty unified with their sports allegiances. You get some New York fans in there, mostly in the Connecticut area, but Definitely a Red Sox place. I'm from Rhode Island, a Red Sox fan myself. Jack Rose from Rhode Island as well.
So the 0-1 is fouled off and out of play into the swamp towards the right. So if you're wondering on the origin of the name of the team, there you go. Swamp, and then, well, the bat, I think it's just a
little pun.
Just a bat. Yeah, I guess.
Works with baseball.
Mascot Ribby is the largest bat known to man, and he cannot fly. But he is a bat, no matter what anybody tells you. Nothing in 2. Off-speed pitch is low, but a solid offering ahead in the count.
Now, was that a matter of speaking, or do you guys have an actual real-life bat as a mascot?
He's a real bat. He walks.
Wow.
He's an anthropomorphic. He's not an actual bat. No, he's not a bat. I think he would get very tired with all the kids hounding him. There's another pitch fouled off. No, he's a very large mascot.
You'd have to play a lot of night games as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't think also not a very huggable mascot at all, really. Yeah, there's some great mascots in this league. There really are. Some interesting ones. Ocean State have a mascot?
We do. We have a wave costume that interns hop in from time to time.
Okay. 1-2. Off-speed pitch, a lot of spin on it, but just left high.
Splash, the Waves mascot. Fitting.
Yeah, that's. I hesitate to call it low-hanging fruit because that's what mascots should be. They should be simple.
They should be. Yeah. The Waves generally is pretty, low-hanging. You can say.
2-2. And another foul ball. Another long at bat as that one sails out of play. Dagodi putting together a really solid AB. At this point, it's 6 pitches. Andrew Hilsman, Dan Shea here with you on a really nice Friday evening in New Hampshire.
Dagodi actually suffered a bit of a heartbreak that most guys have to go through over the course of the season. Broke one of his favorite bats last night.
Oh, no.
Always a tough one. And, of course, as you leave the field,
Tragic.
You're going to have some young fans asking you for it, rubbing maybe a little bit of salt.
A little, but at that point you have to try to make him buy it off you for firewood. 2-2 in the dirt. Nice block by Ripken Reese to keep it in front of him and keep the runner LaRose at first.
Imagine that LaRose may take off here with it being a full count, getting some instruction from Joe Laughman over there at first base.
My guess is Forster looks over to check on him. 3-2 on its way. Quick delivery. Runner does not go, and that one's spiked in the dirt ball four. So runners at first and second now as this brings up Ryan Garrity. Action at the moment. There's some movement in the Bats bullpen as maybe they have somebody warmed up, as now head coach Sean McKenna. Yep, they do. And we're going to see a pitching change. So Keene Forster will be taken out of this game. We'll see who comes in on the other side of it. We'll head to a break. 2-2 the score, and a really close one, the first of 2 here in New Hampshire.
Attention please, now pitching for the SwampBats from Stanford University, Fairhope, Alabama. Number 26, John Malone.
Fun group down there, the SwampBats bullpen. You see Andrew Lapine wearing number 3. You see Mikey Fernandez leaned up against the fence. TJ Schuyler, the bullpen catcher for today. And then there's James Lordi off to the right. There's a who's who in the dugout. But now we'll look at who's on the mound. It's John Malone for the SwampBats, whose most recent appearance came on Tuesday. He got the win against North Shore. 2/3 of an inning with 2 walks and a strikeout. His signature outing of the year was in the second of 2 games in a doubleheader against Valley, last week, it was 9 days ago. He went 4 innings, no hits, no runs, no walks, and 8 strikeouts, 6 of which were backwards Ks.
Wow, impressive stuff.
Yeah, it was just one of those
Certainly hope
days
to replicate
where he
that.
could not miss. Now you go down his 5 appearances this year. First against Vineyard, struck out 1. Didn't strike out anybody in the win here against Upper Valley. 8 strikeouts against Valley. At Bristol, he struck out 1. And then here against North Shore, another 1 strikeout. So just one day where he was just on the money. We'll see if he can replicate that and put another couple of guys down by the K. As remember, Walsh already struck out 7.
Yeah, Keene will certainly be hoping for some strikeouts here as he's going to come into a little bit of a tough situation with 2 runners on and just 1 away. Entering into the top of this Waves lineup with the number 2 hitter, Ryan Garrity, getting ready to take the plate.
John Malone, who in 2024 with Samford as a freshman, 8 games, started 4 contests, high ERA, but struck out 12. College season this past year, much better. 2.19 ERA in 12 and a thirds innings pitched. Struggled a little bit with walks, but struck out more than a hitter per inning. And guys only hit 175 against him, so the stats are good for John Malone. Interestingly enough, Malone hit the first home run here at Alumni Field. Yeah, it was a no-doubter. When Keene didn't have all of their outfielders here, he made some spot starts in left field for the first 2 games of the year and crushed a home run to left field. It was impressive.
Wow, that is very impressive. John Malone, pretty big guy on the mound, standing at 6'1", 210. I can see that he's got some pop. He's probably got some home run power in those shoulders.
Great bat speed. So runners on first and second for the Waves. First count, double steal on the way. Ripken Reese will throw down to second. Throw is not in time. Manolfi can't apply the tag.
So we've talked about the Waves like to be aggressive on the base pass. They get really aggressive right there. New pitcher in, they decide to go with the double steal right away, and the gamble pays off.
Yep. Removes the possibility of the 2 ball. And 1-0 to the 2-hole hitter Garrity. Northeastern.
Well, you'd be surprised. You can still get some strange double plays. We saw Greg
traditionally
make one over at third last night.
Runner over the middle, great diving play as he bats it down, and Bell will have to take the out at first. But a run does score. It's 3-2 in favor of the Waves.
Really athletic play there from Andrew Bell over at short. Laid out for that one. Able to get the glove to it and keep things in front of him to get the out. Otherwise, if that one had gotten past him, Tagoti likely is rounding third and scoring, and Garrity certainly would have been safe.
Yeah, good job by Bell to bat it down. First pitch to the 3-hole hitter Hackett is low for ball 1, and with the threatening runner on third in Tagoti, speed anything through the gap is going to score. But with 2 away, that's the positive spot. Only 1 across right now for Keene. 1-0 from Malone on its way. Breaking ball that's there for a strike. That's the pitch that was really working well in that 8 strikeout outing. Just curveballs and sliders that were freezing guys left and right.
Yeah, it was a great pitch that time. 76 on the release. Almost a foot of horizontal break. A lot of movement for Hackett to contend with.
1-1, slow chopper foul, and hey, nice play by the third base coach for the Waves.
Caleb McGrath,
yeah,
Fordham baseball alum, showing off the skills with that one.
A barehanded grab. 1-2. And Malone looking to limit the damage to just 1 run.
And for Hackett, came into this week with 2 RBIs after the last 3 games. He's up to 10. Would be a great chance to add to the tally here.
1-2. Chopper to the third base side, backhanded by Romano across the diamond. The throw, good stretch by Tupou for out number 3. So the Waves plate 1, and strand 1 as well. We're through 5 full innings. We head to the top of the 6th. Bats due up, Herring, Perez, and Tupou, the 2-3-4 hitters. For Keene when we come back. Top of the sixth we go. New pitcher for the Ocean State Waves is Nolan Peel. But before we dive into his season, we send it down to Ryan Fitzpatrick for another sideline hit. Ryan?
Thank you, Andrew. And we're going to talk about a stat that not a lot of present-day analytics guys or coaches come to trend towards this time of year, especially in the offense, but it's coming in a time where the SwampBats have had a ton of success, and that's batting average. You see, the SwampBats are among the lead leaders in the NECBL for batting average, sitting at the first spot, tied for first, batting .260 on the season. 2 SwampBats players qualify for amongst the league leaders of the NECBL, batting well above 300. That's Marshall Lipsy and Mike O'Brien. In the previous games, the SwampBats have had a lot of success, yes, through the long ball, but hitters have gotten on base before the home runs, and that creates 2-run home runs and 3-run home runs, and has helped the offense go out to huge strides. Back to you, Andrew.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. And yeah, the SwampBats hitter has been very successful. Lipsy, like we said, not playing today, getting a rest day as he was pulled from the game at North Adams on Wednesday. So he's taking a seat for today. But Michael O'Brien in that leadoff spot has been really successful. He's 0 for 3 today, but that's uncharacteristic for him. So new pitcher is Nolan Peel, and a guy who's made 4 appearances. He's 1-0, 9.0 ERA, 7 strikeouts in as many innings pitched. So a big strikeout guy.
Definitely a big strikeout guy. Has the school record 86 strikeouts that he put up his senior year playing high school ball in Landersburg, Pennsylvania. In 2025 with Rutgers, he pitched 32 1/3 innings, had a 3.06 ERA, 32 strikeouts, and a 1-1 record. So a productive freshman season for Peel. He's trying to build on that with a big summer.
Nice take from Jack Herring, who was hitting right around 222, like you mentioned, with the hard hit balls. He's 10 for 45 coming into this game. That's 1-1 now. Hard throwing right-hander in Nolan Peel.
Ends Corey Kling's day at 5 innings pitched, just 3 hits surrendered, 2 earned runs, only 2 strikeouts. Surprising considering how good Kling did look on the mound.
Nolan Peel is a strikeout and inning guy, and for the middle part of the SwampBats lineup, that is hard to put down on strikeouts. As that one runs inside, and that hits Jack Herring. He'll take his base.
And this is what you worry about just slightly if you're the Waves. Nolan Peel, one of your younger arms, and it is always tough when you let on that lead base runner, especially in the late innings of a 1-run game. The pressure can build very quickly.
And like you said, 1-run game, and Herring now to the plate. The last time the SwampBats got their first runner on, or the first hitter on board, good things happened with that Ripken Reese 2-run home run, which is the most recent hit for the SwampBats in this game. Righty-righty matchup, Perez in the plate, and this one's a soft hit ball, could be 2. DeGotti over to first, and that's in time. 6-4-3, 2 away. Quickly here in the 6th.
Yeah, absolutely huge play that time for Nolan Peel. Exactly what he was looking for right there. Lets the first man on with a bit of an unlucky hit by pitch, and then Brandon DeGotti, who's looked really solid today in that shortstop position, just makes a great play, being able to turn that one to second and get the double play started.
Pretty routine double play for the Waves infield. This brings up Chandler Tupou, the first baseman, looking to get something started in the dirt. Almost came in and hit him, but say it didn't.
Took a skip off home plate.
Yeah, it did. But
Peel had a bit of a rough outing against the Newport Gulls, was able to recover his last time out, got 2 innings against the North Shore Navigators.
One's grounded to short. Nice running play by the shortstop DeGotti. Throw is in time. It beats Tupou. A couple of really nice plays from Brandon DeGotti. Great defense from the Waves, and the SwampBats go in quick succession. Bottom 6 we go here in Keene.
We are Keene State. Here, we believe that everyone is welcome and anything is possible.
Look closer. We are a tight-knit community. an inclusive community where people can be their true selves. Bring your ability, background, culture, or traditions, whatever makes you you.
You already have what it takes. Welcome to Keene State.
After an efficient inning and a double play and a couple of great plays from Brandon DeGote. For the Waves, we head to the home half of the sixth, which brings the Waves batters to the plate. Gregor, Brinker, and Paisano are to the plate for the Waves.
Yeah, DeGote was part of a double play there and then made a fantastic play to end the inning against Chandler Tupou, ranged out to grab the ball and then made a fantastic spinning throw to get him at first base. Our broadcast booth is positioned right above the Waves dugout, and we could certainly hear the excitement. Zach Zion's screaming, "Are you kidding me?" DeGote, as he was cheered on by teammates heading back to the dugout.
A couple of really great plays. So John Malone is returned to the mound for second inning of work. Attendance for this first game of two is 575. There was only supposed to be one game played tonight, so we'll see most likely some more families and campers coming in.
Can already see some more fans rolling in now. You'd imagine it's going to be a bigger crowd for the second game slated to start at 6:35.
Not a bad crowd today at all. This brings Gavin Gregor to the plate, 2 for 5 in his last game at Danbury in that 9-2 win for the Waves. Malone deals to him, high chopper. Malone fields it and makes the play at first. Very nice from the pitcher.
Yeah, Malone making an impact there. When called upon, you got to be able to get off that mound and get your hands dirty, if you will. Showing off the legs that time to get the out.
Yeah, he gets back in his stance and a hard bouncer, just kind of like a lob pass.
Kind of went to the perfect spot. Yeah, like he's hitting a little end zone fade there, makes the over-the-shoulder catch and carries it over to first base.
Nice route running from John Malone out there.
Some good hand-eye as well.
And that brings up the catcher, Matt Brinker. He's hitting 125 on the season. Split time with other catchers on the Waves staff. Brinker only played 8 games.
Yeah, Brinker was a late addition to the team after an extra innings loss in Valley, where Brandon Duran had to come off due to taking a foul ball off his throwing elbow, as Brinker rips that one foul. Duran had to come out of that game, and Brinker was called literally that night, asking if he wanted to join the team. A couple days later, made his debut for the Waves.
Yeah. Can't have just one guy catching every night at all.
Certainly not.
Not in today's day and age, where it's more taxing on catchers than it's ever been with all of their responsibilities.
Waves had to have outfielder Colton Reynolds fill in for a game, and it, it showed that he wasn't necessarily experienced.
Went about as expected.
Yeah.
Nothing into full-time catcher Brinker, and Malone's pitch flared out to left center field, and O'Brien makes the call and makes the catch. Out number 2. And remember, the SwampBats only 3 outs left remaining on the hitting side of things, so clean inning here defensively would do wonders.
Every at-bat just a little more important, of course, in a 7-inning contest.
Yes, it is. It's been a fun one thus far. Very close game, very evenly matched.
Really competitive. Not a ton of offense, but great pitching from both teams.
3-2 is the score. Malone fires in ball 1. Ocean State has 3 runs on 3 hits. Keene with 2 runs on 3 hits. Neither team has made an error, so good fielding thus far from both of these squads. 1-0. Righty-lefty matchup at the plate. Foul tip towards the Keene dugout. Interestingly enough here, the visitor dugout that's just below us is flush with ground level, and then Keene's dugout over there on the first base side is a true dugout. It's into the ground.
Interesting. Have to imagine the Keene dugout was constructed first.
That would be my guess. 1-1. Shot foul to the right, and Paisano nods his head as to say, hey, I'm on it. Ready to go after it 1-2, trying to keep the inning alive. Efficiency thus far from Malone. 1-2 on its way. And he deals. Liner foul down the left field line. Well hit ball, a little late on the fastball.
Yeah, and you can see Paisano just a little frustrated after that one. That was the best contact he's made probably so far in this game, as he's 0 for 2 currently with 2 strikeouts.
Very hotly contested game in this one, as Malone is for an inning and a third. 1-2 on the way. From the stretch, he kicks and deals. That one gets through the gap in the infield on the right. And it'll be a 2-out single for Kale Paisano. So 2-out single brings Brandon Duran to the plate. 2 homers and 10 RBIs on the year for the designated hitter.
Yeah, and Duran had one of the better balls I've seen hit this season. Came in our second game against the North Adams Steeple Cats. Went 428 to center field at Joe Wolf Field. Wow. 105 miles an hour off the bat. He's got serious power at the plate, definitely. Getting the MLB The Show animation on that one.
Have to. Little camera change. That one's in the dirt, ball 1. Reese will ask for a new baseball. What I always wonder is with doubleheaders, do you think they have how many boxes of baseballs? Because I know for a 9-inning game, I think it's 4 boxes, so that's 48 baseballs that are allotted. But I gotta imagine they have to have some more.
I would think at least 6 or 7.
Yeah, those aren't cheap either.
Definitely not.
1-0. It's just low.
Jack LaRose, in addition to playing all over the diamond for the Waves, usually finds himself in charge of the baseballs when we're coming off the bus.
It's his job.
Trustworthy guy.
He'll yell at him if he forgets it. 2-0 with 2 away. Malone kicks and deals. Curveball, that's 3-0 now.
And Duran's seeing the ball really well on this at-bat. He's had a couple strikeouts. It's been a bit of a problem for him recently, but doing a good job with the discipline here.
3-0. Runner stays put for now. There's a 3-0 fastball down the pipe for a strike. Sort of an auto take situation for Duran there.
Yeah, he had the red light that time, trying to join Paisano on the base paths.
3-1. Pickoff attempt to first, but Tupou fumbles the ball, but they called him out. Wow, okay.
Wow,
that was clear from up here, and there's going to be some discussions about that because
Joe Laughman quite upset at first base.
Okay.
Jalen Borders running out of the dugout.
It was clear to us. Okay.
Duran not leaving the batter's box.
No, I mean, if I were him, I wouldn't either because this is
Keene wisely getting off the field in a hurry.
That's smart. But they'll have a discussion. It was Maurice Hopper, the first base umpire, who made the call. But I think the ball was obscured. And yeah, they'll call him safe as both umpires agreed and everybody comes back out. That was clear to us up here.
That would have been a big break for the SwampBats.
If he had caught it, then yes, the tag would have been in time, but the ball popped out of Tupou's glove.
It was a good pickoff. They certainly caught Paisano a little bit flat-footed on that one, but yeah, as the first baseman didn't really come up with the ball, you could see Joe Laughman was shocked at the call over at first base. Be interesting to see how this affects SwampBats defensively. A little bit awkward to think that an inning's over and then everybody has to clear out of the dugout.
3-1 as Paisano takes his lead off of first again. Instead, Malone goes home. Foul tip. We run it full with 2 away. Heads up. What did that hit?
Uh-oh.
Oh, it hit the snack shack. That's okay.
Okay, not so bad.
No,
There's
no cars back there.
Sounded a little more like the hood of a car.
No, there's no cars back there. But sometimes I worry about the people who park in center field out there. I wouldn't do it.
Old Mountain Field has a very close parking lot. Dangerous territory.
3-2 pickoff attempt. This time, they got him. Tupou holds on to that one this time, and we head to the top of the 7th. Keene trailing by 1, looking to pull off another miraculous comeback when we come back.
Oh my gosh, they're so bad in the places. Oh my gosh, there's times the other night they
back here at Alumni Field, where the Waves lead the SwampBats by a score of 3-2. Big thanks to my broadcast partner, Andrew Hillsman, who had play-by-play duty these last couple innings. I'm Dan Shea. I'll be taking it over for the 7th, which could be the final inning in this one, but in a one-run game, who knows what we may see. Of course, if this one did go to extra innings, it would have a 9-inning cap.
Yep. Keene has not been in an extra innings game at all this year, interestingly enough.
That is interesting. Ocean State has only found themselves in one. It did not exactly go to plan up in Valley. They scored 4 runs in the top of the 10th, allowed 5 in the bottom of the 10th.
That wasn't too long ago, was it?
That was a couple of weeks ago.
Okay,
it was
so
a Sunday day game.
Okay.
It was actually the game I had referenced earlier where Duran got hurt and today's catcher, Matt Brinker, got called into the organization.
So looking at who's due up, it's Ripken Reese to start off the SwampBats. He's a switch hitter, so he's going to go to the player. He's going to appear at the plate from the right-hand side.
Yeah, and it's a new pitcher out there for the Waves. Wasn't necessarily the plan for Cole Furman to pitch in this one, but he's been really strong to start this season off for Ocean State.
Yes, he has. Wow.
West Virginia product. He's definitely a strikeout guy. Struck out the side his first appearance on the season, and the Waves looking for him to slam the door on this one. His first pitch is going to be a strike taken. Furman, 4 2/3 innings pitched on the year, a 1.93 ERA and 7 strikeouts. So operating at about 2 strikeouts an inning. If he could do that here, he would be very close to winning this game for the Waves. 1-1 to Reese. Taken down low for a ball.
At this point, you just need smart at-bats. That's all you need. Try to go ahead in this one and get Malone back out there to close it out. That's the goal.
Yeah, you want to stay composed at the plate, but for Ripken Reese, who hit the big home run his last time up in the 4th inning, you could certainly understand if he tries to get a little bit aggressive. He hasn't been so far as he takes another pitch looking to move the count to 3-1.
It's a good take from Reese. He's looked at one earlier, and that was a strike, but it's the biggest at-bat of the game thus far.
3-1 from Furman will miss. So it's a leadoff walk for Ripken Reese. It's the start to the inning that the SwampBats were looking for, as the tying run is now aboard.
Nick Romano, who is no stranger to big-time homers in this year. And I tell you what, it'd be a nice time for him to come up with one in front of these Keene fans. It just seems like more people are pouring into this ballpark as we get closer to game 2.
And perfect timing for them as they get to see the last inning of a very tightly contested contest. Biggest lead of the day was 2-0 Waves after they put a couple runs up in the 1st inning. Keene tied it in the 4th, and the Waves went back ahead in the 5th.
Nice pitch to start him off.
First pitch taken for strike 1.
Romano can work deep into at-bats comfortably.
Certainly. We've seen that throughout the game from the SwampBats lineup. We talked about how they were really able to drive up the pitch count of Kling. It was a quicker inning for Nolan Peel thanks to the double play, as Furman's going to blow that one by him. 89 miles an hour, gets the swing and the miss.
That's the one thing that Keene can't afford here, is that double play. That's worst case scenario.
Really killed the momentum of the last inning. It was the 1st inning where they got the leadoff man aboard. They've done that again here, hoping for a better result this time. Pitch is taken just a bit upstairs off the glove of Brinker for ball 1.
Like right around the letters, but at the top of the letters. Hyman Olfe's on deck. He's also no stranger to big moments. And a walk-off single on Tuesday.
That one's going to be fouled off, and wouldn't quite be a walk-off, of course, as this is the top of the inning.
Go ahead,
even though we are here at Alumni Field, the Waves,
inning.
technically the home team for this game.
Yep. It'll switch in game 2, as that was the previously scheduled home game. What a nice night, too.
It really is. It really is. We still got a lot more baseball ahead of us. Pitch is taken inside, so the count draws even at 2-2. Biggest inning of the year so far for Cole Furman. Yet to pitch the 9th, or in this case the 7th, being the decisive inning. 2-2 is swung on and missed, so Cole Furman gets a big strikeout against Nick Romano. That's going to bring up Ty Manolfi with a runner on first and one away.
It doesn't get a whole lot easier, even though it's lefty-lefty with Manolfi. He's been so consistent over the last couple of days at the plate. And they're going to call time and discuss strategy. Manolfi has to come up big here.
Consequential at-bat here as Matt Brinker meets Furman on the mound, just wanting to make sure pitcher and catcher are on the same page. They understand the strategy for these next couple at-bats as the Waves find themselves 2 outs away from a big win that would climb them out of 500. Currently sitting at 8-8 on the season. It would also represent a 2-game win streak after last night's performance in Danbury. First pitch to Manolfi is taken looking for strike one. Furman sitting pretty consistently, right up around 89 miles an hour with the heater. Comes in with the off speed on that one. And another one taken looking for a strike. Cole Furman really attacking Manolfi to start this at bat.
Doesn't really look like he's seeing it. Now Furman has the best situation he can have here.
0-2. That one's going to find the outside corner as it's going to be ball one.
You know Manolfi's going to be ready to hit here, and he'll head away on the outside part and make sure Manolfi had a good take, not swinging the bat. Smart.
1-2 fouled off. And for Furman on the mound, spent 3 years at West Virginia with the Mountaineers, but only about 12 innings pitched so far between those 3. So this summer, really important for his development. He's looked very solid so far on the year, hence why the Waves have trusted him to get these final 3 outs. That one chopped over towards Seidel at second base. Not going to be able to turn 2, but the fielder's choice will get Manolfi out at first base, and the SwampBats are down to their final out.
So it'll be Andrew Bell, who's 0 for 2 today, and he's been had a really good round of BP earlier today, but he's telling me it's got to just translate to the game now, and this is the point where it needs to. This is down to the last breath for Keene. Something into the gap probably ties the game. Reese has decent speed.
Bell's 0 for 2 on the day, but they were both pretty well hit balls into right field that Ryan Garrity was able to handle. Certainly wants to put something in play here, hoping to do a little bit more than that as the tying run is in scoring position. Ripken Reese checking in at second base. Furman locked in though on the man in the batter's box. Don't need to pay much attention to the base paths with 2 outs.
Nice take.
And that one's outside, 90 miles an hour from Furman. Brings the count to 2-0. He's been ahead mostly in the counts in this inning, falling behind here to Manolfi. Taken outside for a ball, and you can see the energy starting to build a bit here. Keene SwampBats are up on the fence in the dugout. You can hear them encouraging their team as they try to battle back in this one. 3-0 is outside, ball 4.
This brings up Gabe Pitts, who has been looking for a signature moment thus far this year, and it looks like we're going to have a mound meeting first. Won't be a pitching change as there's nobody warming up for Ocean State.
Yeah, it's assistant coach Joe Laffman coming out to have a word with his arm, Cole Furman. The team circles up on the mound, and That walk, really not the worst thing in the world. You already had the free base at first, man at second. Doesn't really change anything too much, except it gives you more opportunities for force outs as this final at bat potentially. It's going to be Gabe Pitts, who you and I talked about during the break. Just a great guy.
Yes.
On and off the field.
Yep.
Really nice guy. Well liked in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
And you talked about to me, he's really eagerly awaiting that first home run of the season. His last at bat, he took Gavin Greger Ryan Garrity all the way back to that wall in right field. Very nearly sent one out of the ballpark. What a time it would be to get your first home run right here.
Solid take on a fresh count. It can be tough for a guy to be comfortable to take that first pitch, especially when you know you're the team's last out.
And that's now
6 straight balls.
Six straight balls for Furman.
Very dangerous hitter on deck as well in O'Brien.
Furman having some trouble finding the zone. This is a very consequential at bat because, as you mentioned, the lineup will flip over if Pitts can get on base. SwampBats still down to their final out here. And now Furman still unable to find the zone. He was a little bit closer that time, but the count moves to 3-0. 7 straight balls from Cole Furman, in danger of walking back-to-back batters. And finally, he's able to find the zone. Fastball that time up and away from Pitts for strike 1. (3-1), and that one is gonna be in the zone. Called strike 2. Pitts thought he had ball 4, started to walk over to first base, but he's gonna have to head back into the box. Full count, 2 outs, runners at first and second, 1-run game. This is the pitch of the day, folks. (3-2) from Furman. Chopped over back towards the mound. Furman grabs it, underhand toss onto first base, and the Ocean State Waves take game 1 of this doubleheader. 3-2. Cole Furman comes in and closes the door in the 7th inning. Waves move to 9-8.
Hey guys, we got you right over here. Hey, does he want to go? Yeah, he's coming. Hey. Oh, for what? Hey, we got food here? Time. Quarter off. Hey, feed both teams. Yeah. 7:15. Not the same start. We'll take you down and we'll pick you up.
So the Waves are able to hold on in game 1 of this doubleheader. It was tightly contested throughout, but ultimately it's a 5th inning ground out RBI for Ryan Garrity. That gives the Waves their 3rd run, go-ahead run. Corey Kling was the star of the day on the mound, going 5 innings for the Waves, helping them carry to victory in this one.
Yeah, I mean, all around a fun game, and you know, just really, really close baseball. I think we're really in for a solid one in game 2, especially as long as that game is, you know, as close as this one. That it should be fun to watch. But Ocean State just snuck out and got it done after kind of falling flat for a couple of innings after that 2-run first inning. And see Ripken Reese with that home run tied the game up in the 4th, and then Keene's offense just had chances but just weren't able to convert. It was really close towards the end, but a good win for Ocean State.
I would say we're in tune for a great game 2. The arena starting to fill up here, stadium rather, as fans continue to pile in, and you could feel the energy kind of increasing during that tense 7th inning. The SwampBats were certainly letting Cole Furman hear it on the mound, so we're looking forward to Game 2 here in Keene. For Dan Shea and Andrew Hilsman, thank you for joining us on Game 1 of this doubleheader. Make sure to tune in for the next one.